Jacobite you call me, and the Jacobite I am. I stand for Scotland's laws and rights. I am the loyal man. If that Culloden here, they kill me and I die. The grave which I inhabit, it's Jacobites I. I'm proud to be a traitor, cause it's to a tyrant crown. Against all form of slavery, I gladly stand my ground. I'll no accept the union with shotgun it was made. My rising won't be over until all debts repaid. It's the Jacobite you call me, and the Jacobite I am. I stand for Scotland's laws and rights, I am the loyal man. And if that Culloden would yet kill me and I die, the grave which I inhabit, that's Jacobites I. No more we'll take handouts with the cap in hand. I'll see the servile chains of faith broken in this land. And I'll see my people honoured with the life that they deserve. And I'll fight them with my dying breath, and that you have my word. It's the Jacobite they call me, and the Jacobite I am. I stand for Scotland's laws and rights, I am the loyal man. And if that Culloden they kill me and I die, the grave which I inhabit, that's Jacobites I. There'll be no more clearances, except we'll clear away. No longer am I waiting for a prince over the sea. Now it's in our own hands, our hope and destiny. If you call yourself a Jacobite, come and stand with me. It's the Jacobite they call me, and the Jacobite I am. I stand for Scotland's laws and rights, I am a loyal man. If that Culloden would you kill me and I die, the grave which I inhabit, that's Jacobites I.
Oops, we have a disappearing Glenn. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're joining us from in the world. And as I like to say on a Sunday evening, welcome back, because it never seems very long since we've been speaking to you before. So hopefully we're not going to have the interference that we had in some ways this afternoon. And hopefully we'll be able to bring you what we need to bring you without too much. I'm saying this, but I've got the echo, but so I've got the normal echo by the sounds of it, but it's not quite as bad as normal. Anyway, how are we doing? How are we doing, Glenn? If you had
about the same as this afternoon, except with more vodka and orange. So
I've moved on from the whiskey to the milk now. So
the milk, whiskey with milk in it, or milk with whiskey?
just milk this time.
Just milk. I don't like the sound of that.
The whiskey was fine until somebody suggested having a drinking competition every time we come across a coincidence, and then I was rather pissed by the end of the show, so I decided I better stick to something non-alcoholic.
I think I remember that show. I do remember a show where you and Ian were dancing. You were dancing in his shed. I'm certain.
I remember dancing as such.
Unless that was a private video you sent me. I can't remember.
I don't recall that either. I remember nearly falling off. I may have nearly fallen off my stool in his shed at one point.
It might have been the same video, but you might not remember that bit. I'm sure you were dancing.
I don't remember dancing. But dancing on the stool or?
No, actually stood up, stumbling about.
No, I don't recall that.
Perhaps it's false memory syndrome. I may have just invented it. Yeah. Well, I've seen you drunk. You've seen me drunk. Yeah. So there you go. All right. No, it's these. Ask Angela how she is, because we haven't seen Angela all week.
It's true, we haven't yet. So how are you doing, Angela?
I'm pretty good. How about all of you? Well, thank you. All of you. He hasn't said it had gotten asked yet. I'm okay. I'm here.
He's very quiet man.
I'm just
thinking all the time.
Kind of watching things, go down in all the notifications and anywhere they're showing videos they don't want us to see pretty much in the main news. And just kind of hoping for the best. It's crazy at this point, and just kind of trying to find humor where I can, especially in those Lego movie or clips. That's when this is all over, they have to make a movie with all of those, like all those little, like a whole compilation.
Huge compilation. Yeah. I was just saying before the show to Alex, I just watched one called Liar, and then another one called You Can't Bomb Your Way to an Answer. I think that might be the latest one. They're ones, yeah.
I did see the Liar, yeah.
Who would have thought that Iran is actually winning the shit talk wars? Do you know what I mean?
They're winning everything on every front.
But, Trump said, oh, look, we're building all these data centers. We want to be the leader in AI. Iran is whooping America's ass on the AI front. Absolutely whooping their ass. And you invented shit talk, so you should be good at it,
I think Trump's brain has already gone to too much shit to.
Oh, God, yeah. Don't know what's in there.
Stand a chance.
A small, shriveled walnut thing these days, I think.
Low IQ.
I'm drinking all day, I think.
Low IQ, right? That's what he likes to call people he likes to hang out with.
Yeah. He conducts his life on Truth Social, doesn't it? I mean, that is it. Yeah. So.
It explains a lot, though.
It does in a way. But I actually had to make an account on there so I could argue with one of his posts. But I don't know how you get any notifications for it or how you use it. But he just put something so ridiculous one day. I thought I got a comment on that, so I had to invent an entire account so I could reply to something.
I saw you made a post, but that was hilarious.
But I'm not even sure. It might even be you that sent this to me, Angela. I'm not entirely sure, but I have got to say that at least we then got to the end of the AI pictures and videos of to try and prove Netanyahu's alive. And this has got to be one of the first genuine pictures we've seen of Netanyahu in the last weeks, even months.
Yeah,
so I think I commented the truth again.
I think I commented on that one. I think I commented. BB is saying, "Now, if you behave, I'll let you use the Sharpie again." I think but it's classic, that, isn't it? I mean, brilliant.
It is.
Give him the golden
nappy and everything.
I'm not sure if it's supposed to be some parody of a chimp or what it is.
Yeah,
that's what it looks to me.
I think one of those little monkeys that they walk around with, like an Indian Asian sometimes, with the little hats and the vest on. Glenn, they'll survive the end of the world, right? If they have their vest on. Those little monkeys.
It's more like Michael Jackson and Bubbles. Monkey that used to wear a nappy. Yeah. You've got to make, obviously you all know, I mean, from keeping monkeys, that you have to have a nappy on a monkey because they'll just shit everywhere. So
yeah, I don't believe you can potty train them.
No.
No US presidents, I don't believe.
No US president.
If it's not coming out the back, it's coming out their mouth.
That's it. Because the way it says, some people need nappies on they need front nappies.
Oh, yeah.
They were popular for a few years.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. 95% of the population thought it was a good idea. But hey,
face nappies, that could lead into Kia's subject, couldn't it? I don't know what running order you put in.
I'll mute mine so it's not staticky.
But yeah, we may as well, as it leads in internationally. as it leads in naturally, even. We'll let you start us off then, Kia, because I think you want to go back in time a few years, and what you titled as "Your Government Wants to Kill You," which I think we'd all pretty much agree.
Now, I thought this was a bit of a strong subject, but I've been on here a couple of times, so fuck it, right? That's what I'd say. So I would say that your government is definitely trying to kill you, right? And you want to put some mitigation into that at all, I say, or at least they see you as expendable, right? And they're trying to kill you by land, by air, and by sea. So you could almost say it's a war, right? The people against the government. This can be, I'll maybe speak about this a bit later, this could be expanded into good and evil. But at least by land, they are destroying people's crops. They're trying to destroy the farmers. They're trying to take away the farmers' fields. They're trying to take away the means for us to, even in Britain, a few years back, they started doing, you had to have a certain amount of green hedgerows and minimize your fields to get the wildlife. And the farmers were like, yeah, but we need these acres to actually grow food to feed the people. But it was mandated anyway, right? And then there's been mass protests over in Holland. We've already spoke about the protests in Ireland. That's mostly about fuel.
Yeah.
And then there's been price increases. This is just by land. And there's been price increases. And then the alleged scarcity of products is what it used to be. And now by air, it used to be you were a complete wingnut, right? If you told somebody that they were geoengineering the skies. And they'd be like, no, shut the fuck up, you weirdo, right? Now, you can look online. It's admitted there's companies that are geoengineering the bloody sky for various reasons. But one of the newest ones is for trying to reflect the sun to dim the sunlight, which is exactly what we need over here in Scotland, because it's obviously too warm 90% of the year, right? And then it used to be that the petrol was scarce, the fertilizer was scarce, the nitrogen was scarce, the sulfur was scarce. I wrote this like a week ago, right? Maybe 2 weeks ago, about something I could mention when you first mentioned about coming on the show. It could be 3 weeks ago. Now, this is reality, right? I'm like, this is what they're trying to do to you. But now, in my eyes, this is what they are doing to us. So petrol is now scarce, diesel scarce, oil scarce, fertilizer is scarce, nitrogen is scarce, sulfur scarce, helium scarce, plastics doubled in price, jet fuel's doubled in price, oil's doubled in price, right? And this was this was going to be a proposition to say, do you believe that your government might be trying to kill you? Because to me, all these things seem like they might be going on. And now with everything that's happened in the last 3 weeks to a month, let's call it maybe a bit longer, 6 weeks, it's happening right before my bloody eyes. And then if you're speaking by sea, they're doing it by the sewage that's getting pumped into the sea, the sewage that's getting pumped into the rivers, which also is going to be raining down on us somewhere at some place. And then over here in Britain, the companies are usually getting fined, or we find you £10 million or whatever for dumping 10 million gallons of sewage into whatever. And they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll take that because we just made like 600 million profits, whatever. I promise we won't do it again, but they're doing it. Then on top of that, there's industrial waste, which is getting disposed of everywhere from deserts, usually pumped into the sea, right? If you look at Fukushima, look what happened there. And there's massive tire pits in deserts in the Middle East or whatever, right? They're like destroying, and the chemical plants and everything, destroying everywhere. And then there's also the fracking and the drilling, which I understand for security in that we should be doing something like that in Britain. But it seems to me they are, if it takes me back to, I'll just end on this a wee quirk. It takes me back to a comic I used to read called 2000 AD. When I was a boy, it was quite popular. It was a science fiction thing. And there was a thing called the ABC Warriors. And it seems like it's a bunch of robots. There's a whole story behind it. But it seems like through atomic, biological, and chemical means, your government is trying to kill you. And I'll just add to that. that across the world 4 or 5 years ago, the whole world seemed to go in lockstep, from China to Russia to America to Britain, in pushing these jabs, which they knew weren't safe, weren't effective, and have now been proven to most likely have tiny nanotechnology in them, which I think we've spoken about before, might turn people into the Internet of Beings. But then if you're, let's say, just for argument's sake, if your government wasn't trying to kill you, no matter where in the world you're from, because I know this is an international show, then why the hell were they all in lockstep in a military operation to get everybody onto this program? And I'll throw that to you guys.
Anyone want to pick it up? All right, I'll pick it up. Okay. Yeah. There's so much in there, Keir, and
I know. Sorry.
no, that's great, because that's like food for the, grist for the mill, because everything that you were just saying there is in one way or another correct. Because, well, take it back far enough, when I was a kid, they were putting fucking mercury in your teeth. You know what I mean? They were doing that. You know, I mean, we had the, lead pumping out of car exhausts. Fortunately, that was stopped, but that's proven to lower people's IQs. But yeah, just since we allowed, or since the government, the previous government, in fact, now I think it may have been Thatcher. I can't remember who privatized water. Probably Thatcher. She privatized everything. The water companies, none of them are British. They're all foreign owned. They don't care about the environment. They care about the bottom line. That's all they care about. How much profit can we make out of your water? And where the sewage goes, they don't exactly the way you just described it there. You might get a £10 million fine for dumping raw sewage, but your company profits outweigh that by 10 times, 100 times, or whatever. Yeah. So it's for them, it's a no-brainer. We'll take the hit, and we don't have to build the infrastructure. Another thing, when was the last time in Britain that we built a dam? When was the last time we built a dam?
Can't remember.
Recently,
I think it was there was a little one built in the 1970s, and the population of this country has doubled since then. And then they tell us, there's every summer now, there's a water crisis, there's a water shortage. It never stops fucking raining. And we haven't got a water crisis, we've got a water storage crisis, because these private companies will not do the infrastructure, because to them it doesn't matter. They don't care. It's a national scandal, an absolute national scandal.
Why would they care about the little man that's actually paying giving them all their profits? It's almost the same as when the banks get caught rigging the markets and they get fined £45 million and they just made like $3 billion. And they're like, okay, no worries. Caught. Oops.
What if a duck's back?
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. What do you guys think up there? Alex?
It's like Glenn said, it's so many different subjects rolled into one in many ways. But yes, they are trying to kill us, and people have been saying for years. I'm not gonna say it appears or any of these things. I will come out and say straight out that yes, they're trying to kill us. And people have been saying this for years, and the number of people I've heard over the years, it's a depopulation agenda. But they just trot it out like that. It's a depopulation agenda. Yeah, you get that means they want you dead. Yeah? Yeah? Get that? And your kids dead. And your grandkids dead. And all your family dead.
Yeah.
And you could take the number. I did it once because I was in a meeting once, or a group, and they were just trotting out this depopulation agenda with that same sort of mentality. And I got a bit fed up with it, because it was one of these groups that start out all well and good and ends up how we're going to build a community by just freeze drying raspberries with 20 poets and one builder sort of lark. So I sort of did a quick tot round and said, you realise out of everybody here in a day, they want 19 of us. I think it was, I don't know how many there was. They want 19 of us dead, don't you? you know, only you over there or whatever is here, only going to be the only person left of this group when they get through with their plans. And of course, you get people sort of open mouth stare or silence, and you think, maybe that got a hint.
I totally get it. It's like if you say that these days, it seems to roll off the tongue, and you say, you know, there's a depopulation agenda, and the person next to you, it'll be like, what is it, Shaun of the Dead or something? He'll be like, oh, really? Well, let's just have a cup of tea and wait for this to all blow over.
Yep, let's go down the Winchester.
Yeah.
It's true.
That was a good movie.
Yeah.
I like pretty much all of their movies. Yeah.
Not apart from Sharknado.
Yeah. Oh, are they in that one? I never saw that one.
No, there was a zombie Sharknado where it was zombie shark. Yeah.
Oh,
Sharknado 25, I think, something like that. I can't remember.
Huh.
There's so many.
But yeah, I agree. They're trying to kill us with there's so many different angles they come at too. You know, come at everybody from.
Well, look at abortion.
Part of eugenics and everything.
Yeah, eugenics, abortion, and that's not even to mention the mental health and stress that they put everybody under every day just to get out of bed and earn enough to keep a roof over their head, their kids fed, and have some food. You know, it's a massive stress.
What's the answer?
It's higher than it was during COVID.
Yeah, the mental health.
Yeah, and that too. It's horrible. And then Trump took away pretty much all of the, for the most part, like the Medicaid, and making it harder on Medicare patients, the elderly. So a lot more people are unable to afford almost everything now.
It's getting that way across the whole world, and it's a way to get a whole lot worse.
Yeah. Well, they can offer you a suicide group.
The famine and disease. Or, just simply being exposed to elements.
Yeah.
I think they've even invented now the dual suicide booth, where you and your partner can commit suicide at the same time. So
I've not heard of that. That's
I saw it. Well, it was about a couple of months ago now. Some guy come up with this idea of, well, you just don't want to die alone, do you? Why not take a family member with you? So, yeah. That's fucking right. Yeah.
I
want to be
about hearing about people taking their animals with them in the past that weren't even alive during our time, or their animals. Like, oh, that's horrible.
Oh yeah.
That's horrible
back to Egyptians, where they took their slaves and all their pets.
Yeah.
So we're getting to the stage now where a billionaire is going to be like, right, all you guys are fucking coming with me.
Coming with me.
All those mummified cats.
They were obsessed with doing that.
Yeah.
And then in the 19th century, there became an obsession with grinding up mummies and sniffing them.
Yeah.
Bizarre, because it was thought of health benefits. Snorting mummies.
Some of it in paint too, or something. Was it used in some sort of paint as well for a while?
It might have been, yeah. They came up with various ways to use mummified cats, dogs, crocodiles, lizards, snakes, and people. Whatever they mummified, they were obsessed with mummification. I watched a program the other night. Have you ever watched there's a one on Netflix about the terracotta warriors? I don't know if you've ever watched that one.
I haven't watched it, but it's intriguing.
First emperor of China, when he died, 100,000 people were killed to populate his tomb, as well as 8,000 terracotta warriors, terracotta horses, and all this lot. They killed the entire royal family apart from one guy. They killed all the concubines, all the children. They killed the government ministers. Oh my God. The whole place was built by convicts, and then they killed all them. Unbelievable. unbelievable, kind of feudalism that I hope we never get back to. So, but it seems we seem to be sliding that way.
I can see an advantage. I mean, the entire government ministers, the entire royal family. Yeah, I mean, if something,
we should study their
I wouldn't say I would want something to happen to Charles, but if something happened to Charles and he felt the need to kill the entire royal family and the entire government of the UK, I could see an advantage in that.
Yeah, that would be so bad, wouldn't it? I think I could live with that. Yeah.
Copy it over here.
No, but no. I think he's definitely right. It's a multi-pronged attack on everything, and we're never let a good crisis go to waste. Is always the motto, and we're seeing this crisis that we are sliding into right now, being used in a lot of ways. And one of those ways, I think, is we can take control of the food supply, we can take control of everything, and then it'll be up to us whether you're sort of like valuable enough to get your rations or whatever. And that's the ultimate scenario. I know we're not there yet, but it's kind of the end game as far as I can see.
The food, the weather, the energy.
Yeah.
You control those three bloody things, which I'm pretty sure they're pretty close to, or they can now. You've got a subjugated population straight away. If you can put a bloody or steer a hurricane or cut off a whole continent's oil, right? And then just fucking go on TV and say, well, we fucked you, so go and get it yourself. Right? It's just like, what the fuck is going on here? It's meant like every night I go to sleep and I wake up and the world's changed. Right? That's what it feels like. There used to be like a big event every week or every 2 weeks or every month. Now it's like every fucking day. It's unbelievable. That's what I'm saying. Stuff I've got written down here, like to maybe discuss from a week ago, is like, is this even still relevant? Right? Yeah. I've written down in big letters, Trump told like bin salmon fucking whoever to go and kiss his arse, and I'm like, that was 3 or 4 days ago, and now it feels like 3 or 4 weeks ago because he's been on fucking 4 times since saying he's going to annihilate a whole civilization, and then 3 hours later he's like, nah, I'm not going to do it. Right? Yeah. We've got another 2 days. Right? While making billions, right? His family's making billions here and there, like with all the spikes just before his posts, right? It's mental, and it's so blatant. It's in front of everybody's fucking faces, and they're just like, that's what they do. It's mad. Blows my head. Anyway,
it's insanity. It makes it hard to really focus on any part of it completely and choose any topic to dive into.
I think this is part of the plan.
It's like last year's news by tomorrow.
And that's what they rely on. So if anything comes out, well, apart from when I don't know what the scenario is with Milana or
that was weird.
Very weird.
It's like it's how they did it with Epstein. We'll release 3 million odd files that nobody can go through in any quick amount of time. We'll release them with no real way to search them. Yes, you can search on a name, but that'll bring up every political discussion of that person, that'll bring up everyone they're mentioned. And the pictures you can't search by name, they're just like an image file, like it would be stored on your phone under DSC and a thing of numbers, or IMG and a thing of numbers. There's no easy way to find anything, and they know people will get bored and stop looking. And then
let's be honest, who's even talking?
Sorry?
Who's talking about the Epstein files anymore?
No.
You know, who's talking about True.
I think only a year ago, Trump was on TV, or he's always on TV, you know what I mean? But he gave an interview saying, why are you still going on about this guy? Only sickos and weirdos would ever go on about this guy. Just forget about this guy. And then yesterday, his wife goes on telly without him apparently even knowing about it and goes, Epstein. So does that mean she's a sicko and a weirdo and she had nothing to do with the guy apart from all the photos with her sitting on his lap and at parties with him and emailing Ghislaine, and of course, like, nothing to see here, guys. War, famine, fuel shortage.
She's
UFOs, fucking fake space missions, whatever.
You think she's about to pull a Melinda Gates?
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was just going to say, Angela. Yeah, she's distancing herself, and she might pull a Melinda. I think we said that this afternoon. I think that was part of the conversation. But that was all very mysterious as well, wasn't it? I mean, all of a sudden, 1 minute it was Bill and Melinda this, Bill and Melinda that, and she was appearing with him and everything, and then she's gone. She's out of there. And I thought at the time, there's some big story there that we're not being told. That there was something big.
Well, I've seen on some of the non-popular, like the YouTube people who are not in the mainstream news are talking about how one of her friends who was married to someone connected with Epstein was deported, and she's extremely pissed apparently because they were friends, and they would always come over for like her son's birthday party. Melania and them would, like, Melania had the Secret Service come tell him happy birthday one year or something apparently. So I do believe you're right. It's connected to, she's also probably just trying to distance herself from the victims.
I think, she was
one at one time.
I think she came on TV and claimed she wasn't a victim.
I know, but I don't think that. I believe she probably started out as one. Yeah,
projection maybe, or cover up. Right?
She was introduced, wasn't she, by someone else who was connected though? Wasn't she introduced?
This woman's husband claims it. Apparently, the woman who was deported, and then her 14-year-old son, I guess, was brought back to the U.S. without her. And she's claiming she's going to bring them all down. I hope she does.
Yeah.
I'll find it and forward it to you guys.
Well, I think you're right about the news. I think you're right about the do you ever watch The Wizard of Oz? The old one. And there's the tornado that Dorothy gets swept up in. And everything is swirling around in that tornado. And that's how it feels right now, that all of this stuff is out there. But it's out there all at once, and everybody's trying to grab onto a little piece of this, a little piece of that before it's gone, and nothing. It's all too fast, too confused, and everything's gone and hidden, and yesterday's news before you can really latch onto it. So you're always playing catch up.
Yeah, that's the chaos part of their game.
Yeah.
They rely on that, and they rely on you being focused on something. They either rely on you being focused on something and they've moved on 2 or 3 stages, or they rely on you not being able to focus on anything because everything just moves too fast.
Yeah.
And it's a very deliberate tactic.
Even if you have the eyes to see and the ears to listen, and you take the time to actually look in at even a few subjects, or keep your eyes on the news and alternative news, it's still hard to keep up.
Yeah.
Let alone people that, like I said before, feel that they don't have the time because they're too busy trying to live a life under pressure. Right?
Yeah.
It's like this. All the time. I mean,
whatever you do
right now, and 10 news stories I haven't seen, and probably 5 gas stations blown up, or a bloody oil refinery gone, or just it'll be mental, right? It's just right. It's crazy. It's like a snowball, or what's an English thing? It'd be like a wheel of cheese going down the hill.
But it's I know what you're saying, but it's the guy in the prison cell with the loaf of bread and the key reaching for the loaf of bread. And that is what people too many times is what they are doing. Yes, it's hard to keep your head above water. Yes, it's hard to keep a roof over your head. Yes, it's hard to do all of these things. But concentrating on doing all these things and not paying attention to what's going on in this world and how they're screwing us is where the well, no, back to the apathy again, but it's where that starts from. And I've got nobody works 24 hours a day. There is always time to know what's going on. Nobody hasn't got time to do this. You can have a busy week that you might be a little bit behind on. Yeah, fully accept that scenario, or something's gone on, or you've been caught up with something. But every week, if throughout the entire year you say, "Oh, I'm too busy, and don't keep your eye on something, then it's your own. It's willful again, but back to willful ignorance again. But it
Which
is
very close to apathy, yeah. It's very close.
Yeah, avoidance.
Well, I go fishing with a bunch of guys. There's probably there's 20 of them. And nobody ever has any conversation about anything. Nothing whatsoever. Nothing of any importance. You can talk about fishing, you can talk about sports, and pretty much every other subject is you. It's almost like you'd be a leper if you said anything. You can mention obviously the price of fuel, and everybody will start moaning about that. That might be about the most you could get away with.
Yeah.
But if you mentioned anything about world events or anything like that, or I don't know anything about that. It's not part of my world. It doesn't affect me.
So cool, but not why.
Yeah.
No. Right. And many of them are my friends on Facebook at the same time. So they see all the posts that I put on. And there's one guy, Mick, he at least has got the intelligence. He comments on them, and we have little conversations online, but he'd never mention it in person. He'd never say it in public. And that's where we are.
Yeah.
Strange.
Wow. It is. It's almost like a fear to be seen discussing these things or thinking about these things. It's that's politics. Can't talk about politics. Can't talk about politics, religion, or it's almost like banned subject for the dinner table sort of attitude. It's like
no politics, no religion, no football.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Which can be one and the same thing sometimes.
Well,
yeah. Maybe they're afraid of being judged, and then not knowing how to stand up for themselves, or afraid that they won't. I don't know.
It's like a social embarrassment.
Maybe.
It feels like that.
Mixed with their apathy and this avoidance that's obvious to everybody else, but they think that it's not.
And nobody wants to be. Nobody wants to break their ice. Nobody wants to be like the first dancer and say something for fear of kind of social condemnation, or people saying, "Oh, that guy is a bit of a weirdo." He wants thinks that there is a depopulation agenda. Thinks that thinks this.
Yeah.
Pretty soon you are the weirdo.
Yeah. And I don't think it's weird. I mean, why would they be spraying the skies like you said, and everything and
yeah, exactly.
Just the crowd.
Angela, sorry.
You're fine.
Hasn't Bill Gates been given permission to put the mRNA vaccines into crop spraying in America?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even if you don't get injected, you're going to ingest through your stomach.
Yeah.
What you've been trying to avoid for the last 5 years?
There's no hiding.
Yeah, and how will you measure that? Really? I mean, you're just going to keep eating it and become more and more contaminated with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And spread it.
Yeah.
It's how? How is this guy still just like,
I know.
We're going to inject cucumbers with bloody whatever, right? It's just what?
Yeah. That one they've been talking about since the scamdemic. They've been talking about growing it in food and tomatoes and cucumbers.
Remember the bananas too, right? Yeah.
Everything. Giving it into pigs, giving it to cows, giving it to sheep, giving it to chickens. Spraying it in the fucking skies, putting it in the water. They're determined to get the shit into you. And it's, where do you hide from it? Where do you hide?
Yeah, and then like this MAGA nonsense, they take this, some of the dyes out of the food and limits, not that you can't legally limit the vaccines before yourself if you do it right, but limiting the childhood vaccine schedule a bit, and but then they're making companies like Bayer and Monsanto immune to being sued after giving people cancer. So really,
exactly.
Why don't people see that?
I don't know. I wish I could tell why people didn't see that, because that's the one thing out of everything over the last 6 years that I will never understand, is the whole cult of MAGA, the whole Trump cult.
Yeah.
Because
that's just one other thing they're using to kill people.
It's from his own mouth. People say, oh, you've got Trump displacement syndrome, you've got all this and the other. It's from his own fucking mouth.
Yeah.
He's come out and still brags about warp speed. He still brags about getting jabs in people's arms. He still brags about using AI to have AI developed DNA specific mRNA vaccines. And I know I'm spelling that out with that sort of thing because it shocks me that you just cannot get through to people.
I watched an interesting interview the other day, and it basically an insider guy from the pharmaceutical industry, and he was explaining once they negotiated immunity from prosecution, that then killed all trials. It killed trials, because if you carry out a proper blind placebo, long-term trial, that then becomes evidence against you. But if you're immune, you don't have to carry out those trials. You don't have to carry out safety trials at all. You can actually say there's stuff in this that might kill you, and you can get away with it because you are immune. Therefore, there is no incentive to do safety trials specifically on vaccines.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're just liars.
Yeah. All of the biggest class action suits in history have been against pharmaceutical companies, but none of them for vaccines, because they got immunity for that, because they knew that they were going to cause harm. So.
Yeah. And isn't Trump what he used to call everybody else when he started all this craziness, like in the world, a panican?
Not heard that term.
No, he's a panican. Instead of a Republican, he was calling the people that were turning against him panicans.
They were just
Republicans. Yeah, it's funny. Now he is what he was calling the base of his
knee-jerk guy.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to
he planned to take out Osama bin Laden more than once.
A bit like Obama used to claim to have walked down the street with Martin Luther King and the railroad guy and all that sort of stuff. It really doesn't matter. If you're going to lie big. Just make it up. Do you remember the one guy that stood out for me when the whole kind of election cycle was going on was Kennedy, Robert Kennedy Jr. And he seemed to have this, I'm going to make America healthy again. I'm going to purge the system. I'm going to make clean food, clean air, clean water, clean up all the shit that's in the food and everything. Whatever happened to that?
Yeah.
Whatever happened?
It went about as far as it was ever likely to.
Michelle Obama tried too, apparently, you know.
You'll never get past the lobby.
In the schools.
The donor class control legislation. Therefore, you're never going to get anything done. I mean, the pharmaceutical lobby, all the other lobbies, biggest of all, the Israel lobby. That's why you can never get anything done, because they're all tied down by their donors, and they're all tied to these industry people who call the shots.
You can though. you could if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Because considering the number of things that they've put through on executive orders, if they had any intention, they could have put some of those through on executive order.
Yeah,
they just haven't been interested in. They never meant to. It was never the intention to. It was all lies and deceit. And we're seeing the same over here now. Everything reform spouting out. And I said this the other week, but if you read the fucking reform manifesto and anybody north of the border votes for reform, they're insane. They're utterly insane. But that aside, and well, to be honest, anybody who votes from south of the border are insane, but you know what I mean. But if you actually read Reform's manifesto for Scotland and you vote for that, you'd have to be insane. But it's the same that they're doing. They're spouting the right words, to saying the right words, to sound moderately awake.
Mm-hmm.
There's no intention of keeping to any of it. They've no intention of going through with any of it. It's all political propaganda. It's all lies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's where we are. Politics is a waste of time. It's a complete waste of time these days. It's you might as well vote for, I don't know, somebody's pet hamster. That's about as you might as well.
Might do. It wouldn't get us into any wars.
It's true.
No,
it would probably be safer in that way. Well, as we're on political, and I haven't really put a running order tonight, perhaps I'll go into mine, which I called it a letter to, and I can't remember what the name was, but it was basically the Hungarian for Santa, because it referenced back to Ian's comments that today that voting is equivalent to the adult version of writing a letter to Santa Claus.
Yeah.
My thing tonight is kind of looking at the Hungarian election, because that's going on today. Voting's finished, I believe, but they've still obviously haven't got the results come through as yet. And it's kind of been a bit of a battle between the EU and Orban, because they are determined to try and get him out. Now, I've talked about this once before, about how they were basically the EU was interfering, but was claiming to stop anybody else interfering, but they're interfering effectively in the election, because the problem is that Orban's in many ways the leader of kind of a group of rebels in some ways, because you've got Fico, you've got the Czech Republic's Andrea Babis, and even occasionally the Belgium guy, the Bart de Wever. And these people will follow on from some of his disagreements with the European line. Now, whether that is the whole not being inclined to want to push Europe's LGBTQ agenda, his stance on migration, or the big one, the main one being his objection to the war in Ukraine, to financing the war in Ukraine, and to generally the whole anti-Russian rhetoric and refusing to buy energy. Now, they've had this battle going on for a while. They've had it on both sides and all sides of the agenda. It's been a big one about the whole economy side. And it's the whole attitude of Orban's way of looking at things. I say it's been a battle with the EU, and his opponents. Now, well, as most of the rest of the world, you had the crash in 2008. Well, Hungary was one of the first countries coming out of that in 2009 that had to take or ended up taking an EU assistance package, IMF loan. But Orban took kind of out, when he came into it, took kind of a different attitude to getting out of that scenario. Because the thing is, the IMF forced through levels of austerity. They forced through, they put spending limits on. They put wage cuts, or they enforced wage cuts. And this is some of the things, ironically, that Ukraine are facing at the moment. But Orban's attitude was slightly different. He worked by nationalising vast swathes of the banking industry, telecoms, energy sectors, and even like pension funds. And when he had to keep the borrowing or to keep the deficit below 3%, he'd respond by using emergency taxation against some of the big corporations, which I all find that all of that quite interesting, actually, considering the way they paint him, or the way the whole EU paints him as being far right. But nationalising industries doesn't seem very far right to me. But as we know, right left is a nonsense, and there's two wings of the same bird. But all of that was what put through, and what that led is to Hungary repaying their IMF loan by 2013. By 2014, their economy was among one of the fastest growing in Europe. And this graph is the average wage in Hungary from 2016 to date. So you can argue whether it didn't work, but certainly at the start, it seemed to be quite a successful policy. And even his refusal in recent years not to ban Russian energy imports, etc. This meant that Hungarian households are paying prices that are lower than any other EU country. And this is despite, as we say, the objections from the rest of the EU. But the problem is, in recent terms, it has been struggling a bit more, because since 2004, EU funding has still accounted for around 3.5% of Hungary's GDP. And when he's been objecting to European policy in 2022, there's been amounts of that funding that has been frozen. Over his banning of the LGBT propaganda and the objection to some of the European figures on accepting asylum seekers, they've managed to freeze a certain amount more of that funding, so that basically the situation currently is now that Hungary has probably lower growth than the rest of the EU peers. And that growth has become stagnant, basically, in 2024, 2025. So now you have his opponent coming in, and he's proposing a new deal. Oddly enough, he's proposing a new deal with the EU. He's proposing closer working, agreeing to the things they want, agreeing to have a new view, a new attitude on the LGBTQ, having a new view, a new attitude on the migration, and more specifically, being prepared to discuss and take Hungary's involvement in the whole Ukraine thing that step closer to the EU mindset, that step closer to Europe's attitude. So this is a choice that's become for Hungary today. And this is where it gets, or it will be interesting to see, because the polls have been put in Orban's opposition, about 20 points ahead. Some of them have been putting him about 30 points ahead. And yet the general attitude across Europe still almost expects Orban to come back into power. Like we say, voting at the end of the day is a letter to Santa. What are we going to see in Hungary? Are we going to see him back, or are we going to see the other guy come in? And if we do see him back, are we going to see, because one of the other things they've been calling out, they reckon if he is returned, we could see the Maidan on steroids in Hungary. Are the EU going to step one step further and try to regime change Hungary if they vote him back in? Or will the so say the people of Hungary vote the way the EU wants in the first place? But it'd be an interesting one to watch. Not made less interesting by the fact that Trump's currently come out in favour of him, which isn't encouraging, but probably won't do him any good. But it will be interesting to see which way that goes. And no, I'm not saying voting's going to do anything, but the outcome of it and who they put in, who they select in these places, and how they manage to get that selection through, or occasionally don't. Occasionally it doesn't work and they have to take further steps like they did in Romania. But it will be interesting to see where that goes, with especially the views on, like I say, the rest of them, Slovakia, Czech Republic, etc. And though it's not EU currently at the moment, Serbia.
Am I right in thinking that it was Hungary and Slovakia? Is that Fico? They've been the main sticking points in giving Ukraine money over the last 3-4 years by putting the vetoes into the parliament, and now the EU is wanting to put a resolution through to take away their right to veto this money, and I'll say money laundering bloody machine that's going through the Ukraine. So they're going to want to get out Orban, and they're going to want to get out Fico ASAP. So will it be a colour revolution? If he wins again, will he, suddenly disappear like a scientist?
Well, yeah.
Who knows, right?
Yeah. But yes, he has been, him and Fico have been the ones vetoing it. He tends to be seen as the ringleader, effectively. If they can get him voted out, it would help them. If not, they may need to look to another way. So that's the question in a way.
It's just a reflection in my mind. There is only one size in the EU. One size fits all. That's it. You either wear this size, or we'll make sure you don't get anything. And in the case of the EU bank, just like the IMF, is as much, it always has been, as much of a political tool as anything else. It is a way of getting countries indebted and then imposing your economic wills upon them. Look what happened to Greece.
Yes.
Greece got into trouble. It tried to go it alone. It tried to buck the trend, and they were absolutely crushed by the EU. They were crushed by the conditions, just like, well, in some respects that Hungary had to go through. And it is always a political tool. It's a tool of control. And the IMF do this on a global scale to lots and lots and lots of countries all over the world. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing control mechanisms. And the EU is a undemocratic monoblock of power that does not like outside. It doesn't like anyone thinking outside of its box. It has the way that it wants things to do it, and it will use any means possible to ensure that it doesn't really let's be honest, it doesn't really like nation states. It would like there to be a conglomerate, a United States of Europe. That has been the plan for many, many, many years, and it doesn't like anyone going in any other direction. And that certainly includes having relations with Russia. That's you're outside of the pale there. You know, you're not going along. So Orban's card has always been marked. He's always had a target on his back because he booked the trend. And I think we're seeing probably the end of that, maybe.
It looks like we might have done. Somebody just put in the comments that they're saying now that the what is it? Tissar, which is the opponent opposition party, has won. So I've just sort of looked it up, and the stories are saying Orban has conceded defeat. So it looks, and they're trying to say it's come back as a landslide for Tissar.
Yeah, well, that's another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust, basically. Yeah. Very sad.
I'm not saying like anything. He's got too much belief in Trump for my liking to be fully credit the guy, but in the way that he's taken the line for Hungary on not restricting Russian energy, which is another one the new one's talking about doing, is towing the line on that and cutting back on Russian energy and all this sort of thing. But Orban has taken the line for Hungary in that, and in his attitude to not throwing money after money after money that the EU can't afford into, well, money laundering in Ukraine. So.
Absolutely. And what is this massive? What good? All right, I know what the idea is, but on the surface of it, if you look at enforcing the LGBTQ plus whatever agenda, that's of no economic benefit to anybody. It doesn't achieve anything except, I don't know, except it seems to be another way of driving divisions in society and forcing people to do things that they wouldn't naturally assume were correct. You know, that it's against the natural order.
It could be part of the depopulation agenda as well. They wouldn't be having children biologically.
Yeah. Never
it
thought
doesn't
of that.
work though. Ironically, that doesn't tend to work. You'd think that, and I've thought that in the past. I mean, it does work. You can. I'm not going along and saying that men can have babies now. I'm not falling for that crap. But they have found out that you can push and you can end up with more same-sex relationships, but it doesn't seem to cut down the amount of babies born, because they'll either adopt or it'll be a relationship they end up in after they've already had a heterosexual relationship. They have done studies on it. I'm not being very clear what I'm saying, but they have done studies and they have found out that it hasn't actually reduced the amount of babies.
But that population rate drop,
it's happening without that, admittedly.
They said a couple would have to have 5 children in the latest study in America to keep up to prevent our population from imploding.
Yeah, but it is happening anyway. It is happening anyway, but they found out that it wasn't increased by in the way you would think it would be by same sex.
Well, it might not be yet, but down the road it could be. If they're allowed to go on with it long enough, because they're targeting entire generations, and a lot of people that even I went to school with were the only child. So if that only child gets their stuff scooped out or chopped off, they're not going to have any children for their own. So that part of that family lineage ends.
It's true.
I think that was
the only reason I was sort of saying the other bit is because that was my when they started pushing it. That was my first thought. It's another part of the depopulation. It's another part of stopping it. Especially when they're pushing it on the youngsters.
Yeah.
Because then but if you mutinate a kid before it ever reaches reproductive age, then yes, you have stopped that reproduction.
Who is in charge of the study as well? Do they own the study? The ones that are allowing this?
It's an interesting thought. I don't know. I don't remember what I read where.
I'm just curious because I feel like there's some crazy, some crazy hidden thing that they don't really want us to know. But I think that we do deep down. What?
Sorry.
No, Kira's muted now.
A generational infertility agenda.
Yeah, and you add all the other stuff that you've been talking about too. And something's bound to get everybody eventually, right?
Yeah.
At some point.
I did read a study once that concluded that the ideal consumer was a lonely single woman, because they spend the most on trying to fill some kind of void. So they spend the most on beauty products and all this sort of stuff to fill your life with. And single people in general.
I said, I love bucking trends.
Yeah.
I don't know, like a lot of the middle-aged men here.
I don't do beauty products. I don't do shopping. I hate shopping. It bores the hell out of me.
Yeah.
I don't have a myriad of cats, so that would be the first one I would actually go to if I was inclined towards.
I suppose there are two categories really that spend money on luxury goods, and they tend to be single people who've got disposable income, and probably middle-aged people once they've paid off their mortgage, things like that, and then they start buying Harley Davidsons and I don't know, great big muscle cars and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Okay. Which use a lot of petrol, an awful lot of oil. So you need to keep those oil supplies topped up if you want to drive around in a 7.2 litre Cadillac or something like that. So, or whatever you want. So, which I'm trying to give myself a link into my own story.
I did. I thought I must be slacking a bit, so you're doing it yourself.
Yeah, I'll do your job. Yeah.
We'll move on to Glenn.
All right. So, kind of not booking the trend of tonight, but staying with the kind of theme of this afternoon. I thought this afternoon we mentioned, we mentioned the collapse of the talks, and we mentioned all the failed negotiations and things like that. Well, in the light of these collapsed talks between Iran and America, Donald Trump has decided or declared, let's say, via Truth Social, as he usually does, that he is going to blockade the Straits of Hormuz. That he's going to install a naval blockade to ensure that ships don't get in or out. So he's basically mad. What he says, let's look at slide 1, please, Alex. Now, this is a Chinese tanker, Chinese super tanker. Now, currently ships from China, Russia, India, Pakistan, Iraq, and Bangladesh are being allowed through this strategic choke point. And in his post, Trump said, and I'll read his words, he's saying, effective immediately, the United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Straits of Hormuz. At some point, we will reach an all being allowed to go in and all being allowed to go out basis. I'm sorry for the language. This is Trumpese. It doesn't represent grammatical sort of normality. But Iran has not allowed that to happen by merely saying there may be a mine out there that nobody knows about, but nobody knows about but them. He continued, this is world extortion, and leaders of countries, especially the United States of America, will never be extorted. Yeah, okay, that's a little bit of I don't know, what would you call that, hypocrisy, but there you go. I have also instructed our Navy to seek out and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. No one who pays an illegal toll will have passage on the high seas. Now, that's quite an eloquent post for Trump, really. And perhaps he had help writing it, but the message is clear, really. Trump has decided not only to block the Strait, but also to commit piracy against other countries' ships on the high seas. And Iran has declared on Thursday that it would allow the passage of 12 ships a day that would pay $1 a barrel, $1 a barrel toll in either Chinese yen or yuan, or cryptocurrency. So when you're looking at a large tanker like this, there might be, I can't remember, at least 2 million barrels of oil on that thing. So there is depending on the size of the ship, there's a $1 a barrel toll. Now you can pay in yuan, or you can pay in cryptocurrency. And perversely enough, this actually includes stablecoin, which is a representation of here at slide 2. Obviously, it's not a real coin, but just a bit like people represent Bitcoin. This is the kind of idea of stablecoin. Now, stablecoin is a cryptocurrency issued by the Trump family crypto venture, and it's run by a guy who was committed fraud, was convicted of fraud, but Trump pardoned. And so the whole thing is, so in a way you might say that Trump's cutting off his nose to spite his face. He's not allowing people. I don't know how many people want to pay in stable coin. I think most people are paying in yuan. Now, the Iranians also announced that in the same sort of breath that it had laid mines to create a narrow channel that ships had to use. And Trump then declared that the US Navy would clear these mines, and any Iranian who fires at us, this again from his own words, any Iranian who fires at us or at peaceful vessels will be blown to hell, he said. And so the US sent 2 ships, the USS Frank E. Peterson and the US Michael Murphy. I think we can see one of them there at slide 3. These are US destroyers. I think this is the Frank E. Peterson. He sent these 2 ships to perform a transit of the Straits. And that was very successful, apparently. The ships crossing the Strait and entering the Persian Gulf. And they declared that additional ships and underwater drones would join the clearance effort in the next few days. Now, that was what, according to CENTCOM, that these ships transited the Straits. Now, Trump declared on Truth Social that the US was doing a favor to countries all over the world by clearing mines from the Strait. And he also claimed in the same post that all of Iran's mine lane ships, like this one at slide 4, all these mine ships had been destroyed. This doesn't quite fit with what other media have been reporting, however. And in fact, a regional US intelligence official disputed this claim, saying that the two Navy Arleigh Burke-class destroyers attempted to transit the Strait, but were forced to turn back after threats from the IRGC, which also launched a drone towards the vessels. Iranian media also rejected the American claim. The Fars news agency reported that Iranian forces monitored the ships and then conveyed a warning via the Pakistani mediators of the talks. The vessels then turned back after the warning. So Iranian state television later said its forces issued a 30-minute ultimatum to the US destroyers, warning them to turn back or face attack. Slide 5, please, Alex. Now, although some ships are passing through the Gulf, through the Straits of Hormuz, shipping levels remain historically low. And yesterday, only 3 supertankers passed through the Strait, compared to a pre-war average of around 135 tankers per day. So the levels of ships that are actually passing through the Strait are drastically reduced. And the only ones that are being allowed to go through are from what Iran considers friendly countries. Okay. Or countries that are prepared to pay the toll and that Iran doesn't have any problems with. Now, Trump declared on Truth Social, yet again, his one sort of media mouthpiece, that massive numbers of empty tankers were now heading to the United States to load American crude. And this is kind of the point. This is kind of the point, really. Countries like Britain, countries like Australia, countries like Japan are already suffering from looming fuel shortages and rising prices. And Trump intends that this continues. Trump wants countries to come to the US for oil. Trump wants the US to become an energy hub, and he has stated such. And ensuring the Gulf oil stops flowing is really part of this plan. This is the way I see it. Slide 6, please, Alex. We'll end on this. America will supply the oil and countries will pay in stable coin or dollars. So it's a win-win for America as Trump sees it. And no matter which way the war with Iran goes, I believe Trump has gambled that it will still be a win for America economically by having the oil facilities destroyed in the Gulf region, by maintaining this blockade. All he is doing is starving countries like ours of our lifeline, of our fuel, of our fertilizer, of the very means to produce food, distribute food, all of that. And the longer this continues, the more willing countries will be to beg America for oil. There are only really 2 choices at the end of the day. You go to Russia or you go to America. And now that America is the de facto controller of the Venezuelan oil, and it has its sights on the Icelandic oil, what I believe Trump is trying to build is an American energy empire. And I think this is one of the great drivers of what's going on right now. But we can discuss this, and we can see what your thoughts are. This part of this is what's gone on, and part of this is kind of my assessment and in some respects speculation on what might be the driver. Now that would also, strangely enough, probably entail some kind of rift between America and Israel. America and Israel have very different objectives for this war. And I believe that one of America's objectives is to create this American empire, this American energy empire. But I don't know what you guys think. So we can have a little bit of a chat about it, if you want.
I would have to agree with there, Glenn. And for looking for the reasons as to why the hell you would crash the world economy, it would be because you want to take over the world economy. It seems perfectly logical to me, and make America great again, right? And then I've also seen that part of the alleged deal that America is trying to do with Iran is that of the $2 million per ship that goes through, America wants to control $1 million of that payment, and then use $1 million of that payment to pay the reparations to Iran for the damage that they've done in bombing their countries. So they're trying to make the global economy that they've destroyed pay for the country that they've destroyed, so that they can take over the world oil, so that nobody gets destroyed and everyone has to go cap in hand to them. It's so mad. It's genius.
It kind of is a kind of crazy idea, but as far as I can see, that seems to be the undercurrent that is flowing underneath all this bravado of war, all of this saber rattling and threats. So to my mind, the longer this war goes on, the longer it can be kept going, the worse the world economic situation will become for those countries that largely rely on Gulf oil. For countries like Russia, not so bad because they've got their own oil. China, on the other hand, does rely heavily on Iran, but China also can link up with Russia. China and Russia can easily work out a deal between them for oil. It's the countries like ours, like Australia, like much of in some respects like India, that are really gonna feel the brunt of this policy. So that's what I believe.
I think it's a way to pass the buck, for sure, to get other people to know what our country and Israel did. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I've confounded you guys there. You've gone very quiet.
But I think he is after as much as he can get. But with all the AI stuff and how he tried to pass that AI bill here, and a lot of the state, I think, senators, overrode it. But that's his ultimate goal, maybe, is also, if you control the power of the world, like the actual power that keeps the lights on and people warm and healthy, then he does control everything completely. Whether he owns the land or not, like in a legitimate way. How he's trying to take over all these countries. And the oil does play into the power, because the AI centers need oil to run. Everything needs oil to move. that way, in one way or another.
Everybody uses plastic, don't they?
That too, yeah.
I think more oil is used in the production of plastic than is actually burnt or turned into fuel. And the price of plastic items has doubled. And that, almost every plastic item on the planet comes from China. And the transportation costs and the production costs have gone up, so they pass that on. And that all feeds into the deteriorating economic situation.
Yeah.
What do you think,
there's some restaurants in a Reddit thread that I saw the other day in my notifications. The restaurants are having trouble getting trash bags, of all things.
Plastic trash bags.
Anyway, I wanted to mention that because it seems like a random thing, but to run a restaurant, you really need those.
Yeah, sure do. Yeah.
It starts small and then starts with plastic bags and toothbrushes, and then cycle machinery or whatever. It's all coming down the line. That's for sure.
Yeah. It'll be impossible to get or extremely expensive.
Yeah.
And that comes down to even things. I don't know if you've ever taken a modern, small electric motors apart. Because that's what I like doing. That all the little working parts in there, they're all plastic. All plastic cones,
instead of metal.
Full of grease.
Yeah.
Everything relies on plastic. This world is, I don't know, half of human society is built on plastic. So we need it like we need to breathe these days.
And most of it we are breathing.
We're breathing a lot of it, floating around in the atmosphere.
So where was the restaurant that was running out of bags, though?
It's here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
So
local.
The belief that you don't need any oil from the Straits is not holding true, is it, really?
Yeah, we're seeing it already.
Yeah, but Trump's idea that he can replace the Iranian oil with American oil, which is really Venezuelan oil and Colombian oil, is not working. Because
they need the other oil, that oil, to make it work properly in certain things. So
I would assume that those plastic bags are probably made in China.
Yeah, I agree.
So the theory is
the only answer is to make your own plastic bags, and that feeds in yet again to this agenda. If you can't get plastic bags from China or the cost is prohibitive, some bright spark will say, you know what, we could set up a plastic bag factory in, let's say, America, make America great again.
Yeah.
You've got to think like that. You've got to think that one man's hardship is another man's gain, or one country's hardship is another country's gain. And this, I believe that this strategy is underlying a lot of what we're seeing.
But it's backwards, and it doesn't work.
Yeah,
it's like the tariffs. The ideas one way, and I don't say it's great anyway. The idea is great, but you don't have no more than we do, the manufacturing industry to back up the tariffs. You don't have the manufacturing industry to be making the plastic bags. Somebody could build a factory now, but you've still got, and maybe he's happy with that short-term pain, but there's still going to be a massive short-term upheaval, even for America in this plan, if it is a plan. Yeah. And that's if he can pull it off, because I know countries aren't ethical. I know the bottom line seems to be the bottom line, if you excuse the pun, but the world kind of wants to turn around and say, get fucked, America, because you're going to put us through hell to build your own hegemony back.
Oh, yeah.
To rebuild the petrodollar in the new form.
Mm-hmm.
The world kind of wants to say, fuck it, we'll go trade with Russia.
That would be the sensible thing to do. But when have we ever done the sensible thing? Look at Europe. No way. We'd rather cut off our own testicles than do that. You know what I mean? We would rather nail our feet to the deck and go down with a ship. And in fact, we'd like to start a war with Russia. but all of that plays into some stupid plan that we can balkanize Russia, which will never happen. You know, utter nonsense. And I've said for a long time that Trump is like the Hulk. His job is to smash everything. His job is to smash the world order and establish, corny as it might seem, a new world order, one in which American hegemony is total, at least in the Western Hemisphere.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of the key, because it's not going to be a new world order, because it's not going to work as regards the rest of the world. His two ships cannot barricade the Straits.
Yeah.
The last of Trump's privateers, yeah. It's not. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying. They couldn't get through. They couldn't get in. They haven't managed to achieve anything they've claimed to. They ran from the Houthis the first time round.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not buying they can stop people coming through the Straits. I'm not buying it as any more than rhetoric. So the most they can do is keep the war going long enough for Iran to keep the Straits operating on a pay-as-you-go, if you be nice to us manner, and hoping that will drive the rest of the West into their hands. The rest of it is pie in the sky.
I'd like to see the Americans fire the first missile into a Chinese oil tanker. Yeah, I mean, I would not like to see that, but that would be the only way that
response in some ways. Not for the, I wouldn't, because of the case of normal insane people in America, but I would for the sake of as long as they land, as long as they send a retaliatory strike straight to the White House, it'd be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bit of a slippery slope, isn't it, Alex? Yeah,
it is. I know.
It is very slippery slope. I mean, we are seriously
for world peace. For world peace, taking Netanyahu and Trump out of the equation and the whole of the Knesset out of the equation would, and the rest of the White House advisors, the Lindsey Grahams of this world, the Pete Hegseths of this world, the Vances of this world, well, Palantir and all the rest of them as well. If you could put all of them in one big area and then hit that with a single strike, that would be solution 101.
Round them all up. Put them in a field and bomb the bastards.
Or just send them all to Mars. Only that appears to be a studio somewhere.
Kenny Everett. If anybody remembers Kenny Everett. When he used to come on as the American general with 6 foot wide shoulders or with medals on that side and hand grenades on that side. He's like, and his only solution was ever round them all up, put them in a field and bomb the bastards. That was the entirety of that sketch. But it went on week after week. So
all in the best possible taste, of course.
And it's all done in the best possible taste. That was a genius.
Done before people were snowflakes.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel that we're engaged, or Trump is engaged in way over his head. He's in way over his head. He's playing a game that is on a world stage, and writing checks that I believe America will either regret trying to cash or just won't be able to. And he's dragging the rest of us down with it. We are being. It's not so much America that is going to pay the cost of this war. It's the countries that are most dependent on the Gulf states, and we are one of those. Even though we've supposedly we haven't got our own oil; it belongs to other people. But we're supposed to be able to get oil from Norway under the leasing agreements. But once Norway starts to suffer, once everybody else starts to suffer really badly, then that tap will get turned off, because at the end of the day, countries will look after themselves. And and we in particular, I think, are in a very, very vulnerable position.
Perhaps we should do in Iran and renationalize ours. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, we should. We should. Never going to happen. Never going to happen.
Well,
just like even the Labour government won't renationalise the water. It won't renationalise the energy. It won't do any of that. It won't do any of that because they don't feel it's in their best interests. So, and not in the interests of the big business that basically control them. So.
Yeah. Pays the backhanders.
Exactly. Or not even backhanders these days, just wheelbarrows in the front door.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've done mine, we've done Keir, we've done yours, we've done all the subjects. So now I suppose we're on to random discussion.
I don't know. Did you have anything you wanted to add subject-wise, Angela?
No, I think we're good. I think everybody knows what I was even thinking about talking about. Just, about how the world.
I'd still like to hear it.
The U.S., after World War II absorbed the Nazis and everything, pretty much. The ones they didn't use to put on a show to make it look like, everything was kosher. So, I don't know. Hitler made it all the way to Argentina, where he died, and the people with that Hunting Hitler show, that was very interesting. They need to make a sequel to it soon, I believe.
Wasn't he
Hunting Nazis? Call it Hunting Nazis. Because they did spread up. They didn't really spread up. They were already here. But they were talking about in that show how they were going to slowly move the Fourth Reich up from South America into North America. They were already here.
I remember looking into this a little bit. And I think Hitler died. Oh goodness, I've forgotten when it might have been as late as the 70s.
And
he was buried underneath a hotel. Well, they built a hotel on top of where he was buried. So, and that I can perfectly believe because I've looked at the photos of him in Argentina. We probably all have. And and they used that gold that they had and smuggled, and they used that to economically, establish themselves in America.
Hide in plain sight everywhere where they were displaced to or scattered to.
Yeah, and now weirdly enough, who wants to go to Argentina now?
Right.
The Jews want to go to Argentina. So the wheel has turned again. Yeah, we've got, which oddly enough was again one of the places that was proposed as the homeland for Jews. Argentina, Patagonia, Argentina, was one of the options put forward to the Zionists for where they could go. I believe Sri Lanka was another one, and Uganda was another one. But they wouldn't accept anything but Palestine for what they considered historical biblical reasoning. And mainly driven by the Christian Zionists, actually. Before the real Zionist movement got going, it was already an established idea.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think it's well known now that the West didn't win the Second World War.
Yeah.
It was the Nazis that won the Second World War. They just got disseminated mostly to America, some to Russia, some to Britain. Without the Nazis, we wouldn't have the rocket technology we do now, and we wouldn't have the bioweapons we do now. But where do you see the best rocket technology coming out of now? Russia and America. And who basically created the bioweapon that they released in the world at the start of the century? That'll be the Americans with help from the Chinese, probably. But they've been integrated through systems in America since the end of World War II from NASA to the heads of biotech companies, pharma companies, politicians, schools, just universities, just everywhere.
Yeah.
Just integrated into the system. And if you were important enough, you were forgiven for any crimes, had your name changed probably,
Yeah.
and like exonerated as long as you could bring something to America. And there was a big fight. Not a big fight, but I'll just say it that way. Like after World War II, between the Russians and the Americans as to who's going to get these scientists. So, and they got the best of the best, and they hung out to dry in the Nuremberg trials, the ones to make an example of, and then just forget about all these other bad guys because they're now with us, kind of thing, right?
Weren't at least one of them recognized here in America by someone who was a prisoner?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I believe at least one person, at least one man.
Ian would know that.
Was recognized by one of the victims.
Ian would probably know that. It's in my
Okay.
mind somewhere, but I just can't move the ball around into the right hole.
I can't remember the name at all. Yeah.
I did come across that on one of the ones we were looking at for a Sunday afternoon. I did come across that incident, but I can't remember specifically. But there was kind of, and that's another thing we've covered on Sunday, but there was kind of a discrepancy between the people that America took, which were the top names in everything, and the people that Russia took, which were the worker ants almost.
They built
there was a different attitude in who they wanted and who they had, and they also returned them. Whereas America kind of kept them and integrated them into society. What Russia took, they sort of sent back after 4 years.
Yeah.
It was a slightly different thing, but it was still grabbing what you could use to advance your own technologies. I'm not saying it wasn't, but it was a very slightly different way they did it.
I think in a large respect, the Cold War was planned. It was the aspects that the war finished when it did. I think didn't actually sit very well with a lot of people, such as Churchill, who would have been much happier if we'd have finished, if we'd have defeated the Nazis and then gone on to attack the Russians. And so by kind of stymieing that, we ended up in this endless race, this endless sort of competition to try and outlast the others, to outproduce them, outthink them, outperform them by pretending to go to the moon, let's say. Things like that.
That one. Butterface them, yeah,
all propaganda. But if you look at the EU, and Alex was talking about the EU, the basic structure of the EU is based on a Nazi idea, post-war Nazi idea for Europe, the Kalergi Plan, which was put together in France, I think, in 1943 or 44, when the Nazis still thought that they could win. So they came up with an economic plan, and that economic plan was useful whether they won or not, as long as they could as long as the right people were in the right chairs, then this would happen. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the first EU president, the first EU sort of, like von der Leyen type character was an actual ex-Nazi. And so and if you look at the EU, the way that it operates along those kind of top-down lines. There's a small commission that decides everything. Then there's the rubber stamp brigade that authorizes everything that they say, just to give the pretense of democracy. And it's to me that it has the smell of Nazis all over it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now they're pulling that, like, what's that classic cluster B narcissistic type personality, just, with the playing the victim. That's what they've done. They're playing the victim. They're gaslighting the entire world.
Certainly the Israelis have done that. I mean, that has
been... that's what I was talking about, the Israelis, because they have an identity, and with it comes this victimhood,
Well, the Holocaust, or the supposed Holocaust, was, or no, I'm not going to get into that, was probably the best thing that ever happened to Israel.
Yeah.
It was the greatest leverage that they ever had. And that has, to my mind, broken down to a great extent now, because they've overplayed their hand.
Yeah.
I think they believe that the world would constantly allow them carte blanche to do as they liked because of the Holocaust. But that has faded into history. And today's generation only know about it because of education. There's very few people left alive that lived that or experienced it. And so I think that their license to kill, as it were, has been revoked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you say supposed Holocaust. None of us are saying that it wasn't a Holocaust.
No.
We don't get the whole. It's always focused on the one part of society, whereas it started way before the Jewish population.
Yeah.
And the people that suffered were the Jewish population, not the state of Israel. And that's the other bit, because a good chunk of the state of Israel aren't even Jewish. A good chunk of the state of Israel are secular. Secular Zionists. They've used that victimhood, like I say, that in many ways isn't even their own.
Yeah.
They've been behind that for so long, and for so many crimes, that the world has started having enough, that the world in general is saying, no, we're not falling for it again, we're not buying it again. But the problem is there are just still too many, the leaders buy it because it suits them and because they're owned by the Jewish lobby, and nobody will say or do a damn thing against the leadership because it takes too much effort. It's again the set of bars with the bread and the key, and they will always reach for the loaf of bread because I don't know why, but like we said before, apathy, will for ignorance. They've been trained to reach for the loaf of bread instead of the key, and they continue following that training.
Well, yeah, you would think that a group of people that have suffered so much wouldn't bomb the absolute shit out another country. And genocide's quite a strong word, but kill hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
You think they'd have a bit more empathy?
Yeah, but because it didn't really happen to their ancestors. It happened to a different set of ancestors.
In many ways,
Of a different people, of like people that are native. I think 2 different lines that are native to that area, right? Mm-hmm. Which would be like Native Americans over here, but natives over there. The original people, I believe, right? Mm. I understand that from that genetic testing, that they can't test Jewish DNA, but they can test like 2 lines, like genetic lines from the location area.
But DNA testing, when you talk about that, has actually proven that the people of the Levant, that area, are the modern inhabitants, the modern Palestinians. Yeah. They are not, as Israel would like to say, just Arabs who happen to drift into the country at various stages. In fact, it's almost certain that many of their descendants were actually originally Jewish. There were Jewish inhabitants that converted to Islam during successive waves of Islamic invasion. And so they are the real Semites, and I've stressed this point many, many times over. They are, in terms of actual people of who ethnically belong to that land. They are the owners of that land, or the hereditary owners of that land.
Yeah. I just sorry, I lost my train of thought.
And you can even looking for a descent from the European Jews that would have been the victims of the concentration camps. Very few of them go back to very few of the Zionist bloodlines go back to those that were in the camps.
Yeah.
And one of the best speeches I've ever heard at a pro-Palestine rally was from a guy whose parents were survivors of the Holocaust. And they were fully against what Israel were doing, because they say we're doing to others what was done to us.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember when they were saying not in our name or not in my name.
Yeah.
I wish I still saw that here.
Yeah.
I think the Zionists have done a very, very good job of convincing the world that Israel represents all Jews.
Yeah.
Israel is the representation of Judaism, and it most certainly isn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't even contain the greatest concentration of Jews on the earth. What are they? There's about 9 million. The rest are scattered throughout the world, mostly in America or Russia, or quite a considerable population in Iran, which the actual Israelis are busy killing.
And bombing synagogues in Iran at Passover.
Exactly.
Yeah. Going to get in the car. Sorry. Oh. Airplane.
I've good view of the roof of your house.
You can see the roof.
Not the roof, but the ceiling, let's say. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I hate those popcorn ceilings. Especially when it's time to dust them.
Oh, right. All the little bits get caught in there.
Stay for a second.
Right, we're back in the car.
Yes. Yeah. I just have to turn it on and get it all going. I'll mute it for a minute then.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where have we got to? Not quite sure.
Well, the usual argument at the end of the day, because it's what you see, and it's not because there's nothing new, because there's always something new that Israel have done to their neighbors, or that Israel have done to the wider world.
Yeah.
Under hiding behind that victimhood, that get out of jail free card that they've been using since the foundation of Israel, to be honest.
Yeah. And the one reason these talks, these so-called talks between Iran and America have broken down, is because America are stipulating conditions that would see Iran weaken itself. It would see Iran having that, give up your ballistic missiles, give up any ambitions of having nuclear power, give up all this, give. And who benefits from weakened countries around it? Israel. It is the fundamental belief of the Zionists that no one in that entire region should be as strong as they are. And that they take that as something that everyone should agree to. Well, yeah, we all agree to be weakened. And why? No. Why should they? Yeah. Maybe it's because you're an American satrap, a puppet of America. But even that worm has started to turn. That the Gulf states are saying, what have we actually got out of this relationship with America? What have the Romans ever done for us? Sort of thing.
Yeah.
And they've come to realize that this supposed, defense shield, this sort of this offer of protection, and me and Alex have said this before, was literally a protection racket. That's what America has been running in the Middle East, a protection racket. It's been saying, well, you be friendly to us and make sure that we come top of the pile and look after Israel and everything like it, such as that, and we will protect you. It wouldn't be very good for you if your oil refineries burnt down, would it? Or your desalination plants got blown up, or your gas terminals were unfortunately hit by missiles. And that was the promise. But that promise has been reneged. That promise has proved,
because they haven't protected them. They've paid the premiums. They've paid the thing, and they've not been protected.
No. And then our government's been pulling out of places that they did promise to protect, and pulling all their armed forces and equipment out to go fight all this nonsense war. And the people are no longer feeling protected. So of course they're gonna make other arrangements. Anyone would in that situation.
You can play that back into the smash the Gulf idea again. Destabilize the Gulf. America pulls out all the bubbling tensions that were there, because a lot of these Gulf states are run by very unpopular minority royal families. And there is a lot of resentment amongst the populace, which could actually see a lot of these countries being reabsorbed or reshaped, and the whole landscape of the Gulf area changed again. And in all that turmoil, all that disruption, there will be only one winner, and that will be the United States, because if everything gets disrupted for as long as possible, America will benefit and give it what it imagines is time to build up this new idea. That's where I think we are, and everything. Perhaps I'm one of these people that starts to try and make things fit your own idea, but at the moment, that seems to me to be what's happening.
I quite believe it could be in their heads. It could be the idea in their heads, but I don't think it makes sense. I don't see it working the way they think it's going to. No, because the danger is you pull out, you do this, you promise the world to people. You promise a world of protection and security and American back in and American support, and America's behind you. And then you leave them, you drop them into a ditch, you leave them undefended, unprotected. What happens then? Where does that power vacuum go? How long does that chaos last? Or does that chaos last? Because look at Saudi Arabia, look at places like the UAE, look at places like Qatar. They're not the countries of 200, 300 years ago. They're not the countries of the medieval world. They're countries that depend on technology, that depend on the modern world. You look at places like Dubai, you're looking at the modern world. Will they just collapse into chaos, or will you see the opposite of what you want? Will you see a Middle East that unites together? Will you see the reunification of the Muslim world? Will you see the people unite with former enemies against the likes of Israel? Will Israel become totally isolated? And I'm not saying any of these things will or won't come. I don't know. But what I'm saying, it's one hell of a gamble to just abandon the people you've been using to control a region and leave them to their own defensive when there is that. And yes, you've got the whole Sunni Shiites, you've got the whole divisions there. But you could have more in common once America have abandoned you, once the Western world has walked away. There could be more in common left with other Islamic states than there is with Israel.
Yeah, and they don't have to particularly like each other to come together to form an alliance against this crazy madman, or madmen if you count him in Netanyahu.
Yeah.
And all the people doing their bidding. Sorry.
Well, sorry. Can I nip in here? It's been very interesting, guys, but unfortunately, I have to get up for work in like 7 hours.
I've
stayed as long as I can. Really interesting discussion. I had another couple of things here ready to go through, but it's going to have to wait for another show, I'm afraid. So hopefully,
you've got to do what you've got to do, my friend. And I think we're nearly wound up anyway. I think, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we nearly are, to be honest.
So,
but
get there for a couple more minutes and we'll wind it up. Yeah, we'll wind it up.
Yeah.
If that's okay with you guys, yeah?
Yeah.
It's fine with me, yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
No problem at all. I mean, like I said, very, very interesting discussions. I look forward to coming on the show again and going through another few topics. I mean, there's so much to talk about, and by the time this show rolls around again, there'll be a million more things to talk about. If we're even still here, right?
Yeah.
So peace to everyone is what I'll finish with.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's, and then there were 3. So I don't know where that comes from. So that
I want to think it's the Christie film, but well, not like the Christie film, obviously. It reminds me, then there were none, the whole 10 Little Soldier Boys thing, and there's an Agatha Christie mystery written around it. But anyway, that's where my mind goes from that. But I'm sure.
Have you talking about Christianity? Have you seen the Mel Gibson's making a new film? He's, the Passion of Christ.
Yeah.
Where he's doing another one along those same lines, but it's all about all the stuff that was left out of what we have as our Bible. So it's all about the Book of Enoch, and it's all about all the. I don't know if he's going to get Mary Magdalene's one in there, the Book of Love, and all of the stuff that isn't in the Bible as we read it. I think that's where he's going with this one. So that should be a really interesting,
cool.
film.
Yeah.
I actually made a comment on a site that's purportedly to be put on by Mel Gibson, but I was a bit suspicious because about 10 minutes later I got a friend request from Mel Gibson. So I thought, this is probably not Mel Gibson.
It's not the Telegram one, is it? There's a Telegram one out that supposedly it's just like, but it's another one of the Q nonsense, just like the one that's supposedly Julian Assange and the one that's supposedly
Assange one.
The other one. There's 4 or 5 of them, but they're all the same Q nonsense, basically.
Yeah.
It's funny that they keep lying to all of us and telling us how this new digital, like everything, is going to be more secure and better, but yet here we are with more fraud in this week than ever in any other weeks prior, and it'll be like that next week, and it'll just keep going up. I mean,
I'll tell you one thing.
My friend who was killed, her profile got hijacked, and I got a friend request from my dead best friend. I'm like, no. Yeah, like what?
Dear.
Sorry, it's just crazy.
Digital world's terrible. No, you didn't. I interrupted you.
Oh no, you're fine.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. I was just going to comment that if this crisis keeps going on, I'm going to end up broke because I derive a lot of my income from investments, and I have lost tens of thousands of pounds, tens of thousands since this started. And I don't know, I'm really panicking as to what to do. If I withdraw everything, I'm going to end up paying 40% tax. Oh
my God.
That's because we have a very low tax threshold. My personal tax threshold is £12,500. So anything over that, you pay 20% of, and if you go over, I think it's 40,000, you pay a sliding scale up to about 45%. So I'm going to get absolutely hammered. So I'm in a bit of a corner. I really don't know what to do for the best.
Yeah.
It's and I think across.
I suppose it is income, but surely the income would only be anything you've made above your original investment. Surely.
No, if you withdraw everything, I can take out if I want to. I can take out a certain amount and pay tax on it. But the more you withdraw, that is the whole bunch is counted as capital gains because it's not money that you've currently got. It's money that I don't know why, but
if it's money that you put in originally,
then
that's not a capital gain.
Yeah, but that only accounts for a small amount of what is there. I mean, I've been doing this.
Profits made, is it?
Yeah, it's all profits made because I started out with only, I think it was 14,500 that went in originally. And since that time, I've withdrawn 51,000 and there's still like over 100 in there. And all of that is accrued profit over the years. So that if I took the lot, it would be counted as capital gains.
Okay, I'm sure with you.
So
they want to penalize you for taking it out because they won't be making interest off of it anymore.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You're penalised. I'm suffering now because I'm losing money because everything's losing value. But so it's a rock and a hard place. It's a pretty dire situation. It's not good.
Yeah.
So because that's a long-term plan, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There you go. That's happy days
that's
for
horrible.
you. But am I downhearted? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Well,
that's a lot of planning that has to feel like kind of down the drain.
Yeah, it is. It happened in COVID. It went right down, and I went to see the guy, and he said, "Don't worry, there'll be a bounce. There'll be a bounce back," and there was. There was the COVID bounce, and everything got back on track, and it only took a relatively short amount of a couple of years for everything to be back to where it was.
Yeah.
But I'm not so sure this time because this is an open-ended catastrophe.
It could go on for a decade or more.
It could go on. How long will this
war? 5 years, 10 years? Nobody knows.
Where will the world economy be in 5 years' time? It doesn't even bear thinking about. So
it may not even exist if it just doesn't. If we don't get out of this, and I mean, even with the damage already done, it's going to take a long time for a lot of people to recover in a lot of countries.
Yeah. I don't believe
those
we've
hardest
even
hit by the bombings. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, from our point of view, that's just financial. From like you just said, from their point of view, this is lost lives, wrecked homes, destroyed infrastructure,
entire
wrecked
families.
countries.
Yeah.
I mean, for God's sake, look at Lebanon.
Yeah.
This is turning into a repeat of Gaza.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
it seems to be Israel's intention to flatten southern Lebanon.
Yeah.
In the using the same umbrella term, it's for Israel's security.
Yeah.
Why do they feel so insecure? Why are you so frightened of your neighbors? Perhaps it's because
you made all of your neighbors your enemies.
Exactly, Alex.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. They only do that for so long before they hit back, before they respond.
Yeah.
And that's why Iran's always been the axis of resistance, not the axis of evil.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I view it.
Yeah.
Anyhow. Okay.
Yeah. Oh dear.
So should we wind up, guys?
Yeah, I think we may as well do.
All right.
At least we were able to have the shows today, the show and the shows before. A week ago, I was worried if we would even have internet this week, honestly.
Yeah.
A little bit in the back of my mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's, we don't know. One day we may get to the point that we disappear from the screens. Well, we might get to the point that we disappear, but that's another story entirely. But we can't guarantee how long we'll be allowed to carry on broadcasting. We can't guarantee how long the internet will stay connected if they decided to flick a switch because people were learning too much or having too much information in front of them. So all we can do is carry on while we can and carry on the best we can beyond that. And like we sort of mentioned this afternoon, we will send you newsletters if it comes to it. We will find a way to get the message out, and we will continue because overall we ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So unless anybody has anything else to add, then we will wrap it up. It's now Sunday evening. I'll be back on Tuesday and I'll be looking at the economics that I didn't look at today on Tuesday. And I've got a full country snapshot of the oil prices and things in Australia, because one of our viewers has been kindly sending me the details from all across Australia. That's one of the reasons I didn't do it today, because I've got it's going to take a bit more putting together, but it should give us a wider view of that country, and I'll be looking obviously at other countries as well. But anything could change by Tuesday. The market's open again tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see where we are economically by Tuesday. Anyway, I'll be back with that at 9 p.m. on Tuesday evening with Gleam in the North. Ian will be back at 7 p.m. on Wednesday with Smokem. Glenn will be back to his normal Friday this week at 7:30 with The Man in Black. And we'll be back next Sunday at 1:50 with Lone Gunman Rides again, and at 8 p.m. with more from Last Jacobites International. So take care, have a good week, and we will see you soon. Good night.
Good night.